Right, are you ready now?
Yeah, I'm ready, sorry.
Okay, we had a false launch because James missed the countdown, but now we're ready.
Yeah.
Well,
How are things since we last spoke?
We haven't stopped speaking since the last time we spoke on an episode.
No, true.
We're recording back to back. So
Yeah.
Welcome to White Shirt Mondays, or it'd be White Shirt Thursdays because these come out on Thursday.
You nearly said sharp.
White Shirt. Yeah. Public service announcement. If you're having white sharks, then you need to go to the doctor. Yeah, we didn't plan it. What shirt have you got on today?
It's a top. I would say it's a top.
Yeah.
I don't know what the...
It's one of your long sleeve things.
Yeah. I don't know what the kind of qualifiers are that make a shirt a top or vice versa, but
No.
I'm pretty sure this falls under the top category. No buttons in sight here.
No. It also looks like a pyjama top.
Yeah, it's not, but I can see how you would think that. I mean, it's just a regular top. What is it? Well, I guess it does look a bit pyjama-y, doesn't it?
Yeah. I would say the only long sleeve t-shirts that I have like that are pyjama tops.
I've been speaking to clients in this today. I don't want them to think that I'm just sat in my pyjamas.
No.
I thought it was quite a nice top, but...
where's it from?
I think it's from All Saints.
Okay, fair.
Which, considering I'm notoriously stingy, as we covered in last week's episode...
I said frugal, but stingy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could read between the lines. All Saints is this is probably one of my more expensive garments of clothing.
Okay, fair. All right,
what top have you got on?
I'll take back everything I said.
No,
I'm wearing a
Uniqlo
t-shirt. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, there was that time that will always live long in our memories where you and I were hosting. I think we were hosting our first ever event as an agency in London.
Oh, yeah.
And we took the bus down because the train was cancelled, and that you stole some woman's luggage.
I mean, that's one way of putting it.
In exchange for your own luggage, which meant that you had no clothes other than what you were wearing. And we were around Liverpool Street, right?
We were.
And I think the only shops that you could find were more expensive shops. There wasn't like a Primark or a H&M, which ordinarily you would just see all the time, but when you actually needed one.
Yeah, when you're in the trendy end of London, it's hard to stumble upon those shops. So I ended up going to All Saints, I believe. This was not an emergency purchase.
No.
I want to set the record straight there because what Jamie didn't mention is that the two of us had our suitcases on top of one another, and when we went to go and collect the luggage from the hold of the coach, I was handed those two by the driver who was unloading them, and it was like they came as a pair, and the one that I took, mistaking it for my own, was, in fairness, basically identical to my one, and was paired with yours. But of course, when I opened it, it had women's clothes in it, and anyway, we ended up with it. The happy ending is that National Express managed to put us in touch with each other. They effectively just gave us our numbers, and then we could text each other, and I arranged a rendezvous with the woman's husband on neutral territory the day after, and we sort of exchanged cases like some sort of illicit drug deal.
Okay.
And it all ended well, and I got some new clothes out of it.
Yeah, not the woman's clothes. You went and purchased clothes.
I didn't steal her clothes before handing over the suitcase.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Because the husband checked everything was in there.
Yeah, he didn't. To be fair, it's very trusting.
Okay, good. I think the woman would have got the raw end of the deal there in terms of the contents of the suitcase.
Yeah, luckily. So I was worried that she was staying in London and sort of had to go a night with no clothes that were hers, but it transpired that she actually lived in London, so it's not like she was without anything else. She had a whole wardrobe at home that she could tap into, so really I got the worse end of the deal there.
You did, yeah.
We don't definitely know that it was me that took her. She might have taken mine first.
That's true.
I want to add to that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the funnier narrative is that you stole someone's suitcase.
Yeah, true.
So we'll edit all of that explanation.
I'm here for accuracy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to edit out that whole explanation and just leave it out. You stole someone's suitcase. The internet's forever, James.
Oh.
Imagine if that was your meet cute and you were now married.
I did think that.
Yeah, but then you said their husband come and pick
the
up
husband
the,
came.
suitcase.
Yeah, that would have been a really cool story. My current girlfriend might have had something to say about it, but
Yeah.
it would have been worth it for the romance of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sliding doors moment, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, there was a third wheel in any case. The guy who turned up with the
Yeah,
case.
not me.
Yeah, not you.
Anyway, suitcase stories aside, what do you want to talk about today?
So we're going to talk about personalization. This has been teased on 2 episodes now and is really important. It's a really important part of email marketing and ties very closely with 2 topics that we've already covered, segmentation and automation. So the 3, personalization, automation, and segmentation, kind of come as like a holy triumvirate of sorts, where it's difficult to have one of those without the other 2. And so personalization is the final installment in this trilogy, the return of the personalization. And I'm looking forward to talking about it. It feels like putting a cherry on top of this weird cake that we've been baking together.
It's the shittest cake I've ever had, but I guess you're right. Those 3 are all part of this same thing. Maybe depending on what you're into, it could be your Infinity Gauntlet. You've made a Lord of the Rings trilogy joke already.
Yeah.
It could be your Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
I did say Holy Triumvirate.
Holy Triumvirate, okay.
But I don't know that triumvirate was the right word. I think triumvirate relates to like emperors, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Anyway.
So why does it tie into those? Why does personalization tie into segmentation and automation?
Well, all of them start with data and the customer journey and understanding more about our audience in order to tailor an experience for them. So personalization, you could argue that it's the first step in creating segments and creating automations that are genuinely valuable, because essentially what personalization is tailoring your emails to specific attributes or behaviors about your audience. And so once you have that information, you can create segments using that data, and you can create automations that target those audience members depending on criteria that they may or may not fall into. And so personalization is, we've said it's the final installment of the trilogy. You could argue that it is in fact the Fellowship of the Ring, as far as this weird trilogy goes.
Okay, let's cast this ring into Mount Doom. Maybe the one way to see it is that segmentation plus automation equals personalization. Maybe that's the way this could be presented.
I think you could take any one of the 3 and add it to the other one and say it equals the third one.
Okay, let's not do that then. We're in danger of going down this gold panning metaphor that you used before.
Exactly.
Got complex.
Yeah, like you could definitely say personalization plus segmentation equals good automations.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I think really what we're getting down to the bottom of here then, and I suppose what we want to do in this episode is make the case for personalization. Why is it important? Why does having specific data about our subscribers, why is that helpful? Why does it matter? And how can we use it to ultimately make our emails more effective and make the subscriber experience more enjoyable?
Okay. Nice. That's a nice clip. I'll clip that and use it on social media.
Oh yeah, that's clip worthy, is it?
Yeah, I'll clip that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or AI will clip it for me.
Yeah, sure. More likely.
Such as the world now.
Yeah.
Okay, so when people hear personalization when it comes to email marketing, they probably think, oh, let's use someone's first name in the email. And if we're really bold, let's use their first name in the subject line. But personalization is so much more than that, right? And, it's so much more than cheap tricks like that as well. And true personalization, touched on it a little bit already, but true personalization is serving the right content to the right people at the right time. And this is why we talked in the last episode about automation and how triggering automations based on someone's status with us or someone's point in the customer journey with us means that we're serving up personalized content.
Yes.
Another way we could do personalized content is by observing their behavior outside of the customer journey in a macro sense. And what we observe there gives us preferences for those readers. And so we can start to do clever things based on, I don't know, maybe we in a newsletter, we cover 3 topics and we notice that a bunch of people click on the first topic. And so we can then perhaps tag those people as being interested in that topic. And we can make sure that in the future, that topic is top in the content hierarchy in future emails. So maybe that's a very isolated and it's like dumbed down version of the process, but that's another way in which we can personalize emails, right? Is content hierarchy and what we're serving within the email itself.
Sure. Yeah, there are loads of use cases for personalization. When it's boiled down, personalization just means tailoring content. And that could be for one individual, or it could be for a whole demographic. It's worth bearing in mind, and I want to address this now because it will preempt a lot of the conversation that we're going to be expanding on. Personalization is really effective. So some top level stats for you here. Emails with personalized subject lines, 26% more likely to be open. That's according to Campaign Monitor. And remember, personalized subject lines doesn't just mean a name. It can mean a name. It could also be something like, we notice you were browsing pajama tops or whatever. And that would count as a personalized subject line because we're talking specifically about the circumstances of one demographic. We wouldn't send that to everyone on our list. Rich Relevance found that revenue is 5.7 times higher in emails that employ personalization. And again, that stat sounds shocking at first because our instinct might be to just think, God, if I include a first name, I'm going to get 5.7 times higher revenue. That's crazy. In reality, what those stats are probably heavily skewed by is the fact that personalization can mean serving specific products to email subscribers that have clicked on on those products before, for example, or have browsed similar products. And so personalization, as you've rightly said, Jamie, means a whole range of different customization approaches, and that's why we see these incredible increases in numbers. We're not just talking attributes here; we're talking behavior, and that distinction is really important.
Yeah, nice. I like those stats. I wish I had like a klaxon to sound like an air horn every time you drop a good stat like that, to lend it more weight.
Just be constant air horns, right?
Well, it would be, yeah. You'd never get any talking done.
I remember your mixing desk. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah.
I
I forgot is one thing, and secondly, I don't think I was working it properly either.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. No, sorry.
You've highlighted deficiency in our podcast.
Clearly a sore point. A sore point.
So, okay. So one thing I want to talk about just quickly is how personalization, how people can use it straight away. And in the last episode, we painted the picture for a couple of different use cases, different businesses. I'd like to do something similar there if we can, just, keep it top level. Because I'm conscious people are listening to this who, again, they might have a few hundred people on their list and they're sending maybe a monthly or fortnightly newsletter and that's all they're doing. Now they're thinking about doing automation because they listened to episode 10 of Send Better Emails and are now clued up on automation. Having listened to this one and clued themselves up on personalization, how can someone running an email program like that use personalization in a more meaningful way other than just using first name merge tags?
So this is highly dependent on the business, and depending on the business you're running and what you want to achieve from your emails, your best approach to personalization will vary significantly. So if you are selling pajamas, for example, one data point that would be really useful for personalization is their size, perhaps, because it might be that if you have that data and you're running a sale, but I don't know whether you ever find this, Jamie, when you go to H&M and go to the sale rack, the only sizes that are left are like the XXLs and the extra smalls. It may be that if you have a segment in your database of people that you know are XXL or extra small, then you can target the products that you feature in your email to those sizes. And wouldn't that be really nice? And again, this is where we see those huge gains in revenue when we start being smart like that.
Yeah.
Equally, if we're an agency and we're selling services, we might want to know whether the agency, the prospective client we're emailing already has an agency. And if so, maybe the content we include in our email to them will be different to the content we include to the general population of our subscribers. Perhaps the amount of revenue that company is earning will also vary the messaging that we want to use. It could be, for example, that we have a small gateway service, like we'll audit your email account or something, and we send that to a certain sized company that we know can afford it and aren't going to be scared off. But maybe there's some big juicy retainer that we want to sell the bigger clients, and we can send them that. So I would say it really depends on your business objectives and your newsletter objectives. What's really important, though, is that you start by thinking very carefully about the sort of data that you can actually use and that will actually be helpful. There's no point, and I think we mentioned this when we were talking about segmentation, there's no point in collecting loads of data about a user. It's difficult to do that for starters, but there's no point in collecting it if you're never going to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the upside, if you next time you go to H&M and they don't have your size, you could always steal a suitcase again and get some new clothes that way.
This is like the great thing. I don't know why I keep getting implicated for theft on these podcasts, but honestly, there's a bit of a trend here, isn't there?
Yeah. I think I have more theft stories about you as well, but I'll keep them banked.
There's even more.
Oh,
no. Yeah. So I'm interested to get your thoughts, Jamie, on that question that you just asked me, because there may have been sort of categories that I missed. I think one thing that you touched on earlier that I liked was email engagement and using that as a basis for personalization. So it'd be cool if you could expand on that. I also want to know if you've ever received a personalized email that you found creepy.
Okay, creepy. I'll need to think about that one a little bit more.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about using first name merge tags in subject lines and in copy and stuff. And what I will say is that where I have seen that, and the thing is, people are so used to that now that it becomes wallpaper. It becomes like a default thing, and people are expecting it, so it loses its power a little bit. There is still, I think, a subconscious thing there. When someone says "Hi, Jamie" in an email, I think there probably is a subconscious part of me that it is more likely to engage with that email because they've done that. But it's not like I'm saying. Maybe there's a philosophical argument here about whether true personalization does tailor for the subconscious, not the whatever the not subconscious is, the conscious. But one instance of using a first name merge tag that I really enjoyed is just using it conversationally in the copy in the body copy of the email. So instead of having it in the subject line, well, as well as having it in the subject line or at the start where it says "Hi, Jamie," continue to call me Jamie through the body of the email. I thought that was quite nice because I just felt like the content was more engaging when I saw that. Beyond that, other ways in which a smaller business with a smaller list can use personalization. We spoke a little bit about engagement and content hierarchy. I think another one is, if you're running a B2B service business, maybe like an agency or something, and your list is, a few hundred, I would wager that you've got probably a mixture of current clients on there, lapsed clients on there, potentially prospective clients. You've probably got vendors or suppliers on there, partners, and then maybe like your mum or something. So I think separating your list, and we talked about segmentation before, each of those people are going to want to see different things from you. Or at least for the goals that you have for those people on your list, they should be seeing different things from you. So clients should be getting different content to lapsed clients, or maybe not all the time, but because the objectives will cross over at some point. But in terms of what they're being served, you'll want to send them different things. It's the same for partners, and it's the same for suppliers as well, right? So I think personalizing content based on the relationship that people have with you on your list, and that's maybe just another way of saying, go back to the customer journey mapping and identify key touch points. But I think acknowledging the relationship that people have with you and talking to them in a different way is worth doing. We do have to think about we always have to weigh up the amount of time and effort we're investing in our email effort versus what we think the actual value is that we can get out of it. So the return on that investment.
Yes. Go on.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I think the first differentiation I would make is identify the clients on your email list and everyone else. I think clients should be spoken to and marketed to in a different way to everyone else. So, make that distinction at least.
Agreed. And I want to stress, because we haven't necessarily touched on too much about the actual execution of personalization and what it actually involves beyond sort of merge tags. But I think one thing to stress is that it doesn't necessarily, if we want to send a different email to clients and prospective clients, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to create two completely different emails. We can use dynamic content in order to add extra sections or hide particular sections from particular audiences. And so that's where it might be that 80% of the email you want to send is applicable to prospective clients and lapsed clients, but maybe there's a 20%, maybe it's a CTA or a particular message that you want to include, or a piece of news that maybe to current clients is interesting but not so interesting to prospective clients. And using dynamic content, we can include or hide that stuff such that it still is personalization. It's not personalization that anyone is going to necessarily notice like they would a first name, but it's still personalization, and it's still keeping those emails super relevant. I want to also quickly mention, Jamie, you talked about using first names during main body copy there, and I agree with you. I think that can be really good when it's used well. One health and safety warning for anyone listening to this and thinking, I'm going to try that tomorrow, is that you really need to make sure that you have first name data in order to do that, which sounds obvious, but very often we come across email lists where maybe 70% of the people on the list, there's a first name, and then 30% there isn't a first name or any data in the name field. When that happens and we use a merge tag, it will default to the default value if that data can't be found by the email provider. So if we're using MailChimp and we include a first name, we will also have to set a default value for when the first name can't be found. And that could be everyone, for example. So we say, hi, everyone, instead of hi, name. The problem, of course, is that when we're using that in the context of body copy, it means it can sound like, if we say something like, today, James, we're going to be doing this, it can sound a little bit impersonal and actually worse if it's, today, everyone, we're going to be doing this. Even worse, sometimes the default value will be something like there. So we're saying, hi there, for example. Again, in the body copy, if we say today we're going to be talking about blah, blah, that not only is that impersonal, but it's actually grammatically incorrect and like a very obvious sign that you're using merge tags. And so that's just something to be wary of in case you get carried away with the personalization.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, I think one thing that actually highlights is the importance of making sure your data is in a good place.
Yes.
And we were talking the other day, when people think about good email marketing, they might be thinking about these beautifully designed or beautifully written emails. They might think about, that fancy front-facing stuff. But all great email marketing starts with good data. And it will only ever be as good as your data, I would argue. So making sure that you're set up in a correct way, and that might mean auditing your own data, spotting where the gaps are, trying to fill those gaps, because the more the more you can, the better your campaigns will be. The only thing that you have to bear in mind is that any data that you want, build a business case of using it. What's the purpose that having that data will serve? Because like James said earlier, you don't want to be gathering more data than you're going to use. And so you need to kind of map that out and also map out where you're going to collect that data as well, because it's a lot to ask someone to fill out a long sign up form. The more friction you add there, I think you're pushing your luck if you go beyond 3 or 4 fields. And there are lots of different ways in which you can gather data. Maybe data capture is a future episode, James, that we should talk about.
Yeah, definitely. We touched on it a couple of times already, haven't we? And there's definitely half an hour we could squeeze out of that orange, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Go on. Oh,
we did it at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, so cute. Romantic.
Yeah. That was our meet cute. Should we marry?
We already are married.
Yeah, true.
Another health warning that I want to add, not to be the Debbie Downer of this podcast, but personalization is one of them where it's really good and really effective when you're using it well. But if you don't use it well, or if you make a mistake, it can really bite you, and it can have the opposite impact that we want. 25% of baby boomers find personalization extremely or very important, Jamie. 60% of millennials and Gen Z find it extremely or very important. There is a direct correlation between how young someone is and how much they like personalization in emails. And I think that is largely due to the fact that baby boomers didn't grow up with the internet. They're not necessarily as digitally literate as millennials and Gen Zs, such that when personalization is used on these demographics, it can actually creep them out a little bit. And that's partly why I asked you whether you've ever had any personalization that creeps you out, because there is a line when it comes to personalization that some demographics get a little bit uncomfortable if you cross. That's just something to bear in mind as well, because depending on the product, I would say this isn't really applicable to B2B, by the way, but I would say if you're selling something to consumers, think very carefully about who's actually buying your product and who you want to reach. If it is the youngsters, if you're selling something trendy, like pajama tops that are actually regular tops, then definitely use personalization. But you might look at your audience and think to yourself, I'm not actually sure that this particular audience is going to respond to personalization in a way that's going to help me. And so that's just another thing to bear in mind there, because we've talked about personalization in quite general terms, and yes, by and large, it is very helpful for your emails, but that's not a blanket statement. And depending on your audience, some may not enjoy it as much.
Nice. Okay. I enjoyed you potentially alienating a whole generation from our podcast then by calling baby boomers digitally illiterate. I mean, to be fair, if they have to find our podcast and press play on it first to have been alienated, so maybe they didn't make it.
I said some. Not
you?
necessarily. Yeah, well, I hope so. Yes. Obviously, some baby boomers are excellent with the internet, but not all.
And just quickly, what is the internet for those that don't know? No, I'm joking. I can't believe we're already at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This is just so fun.
I know. It's just time flies.
And we said we were going to do 3 today, and I think we might have run out of time. So we'll have a conversation once we've pressed stop.
Sure.
About whether we're going to do that. But hot take. So do you have a personalization hot take? Or do I need to do that thing where I'm talking slowly to give you a chance to come up with a hot take?
My hot take's going to be another stat. So I've got one more in the barrel that I haven't used yet.
Okay.
And that is that 57% of email subscribers said they would be more likely to engage with marketing emails that contain exclusive offers and discounts. And so I would say that if you are able to use personalization in a way that is linked to the transactional elements of your business, i.e., if you're able to combine personalization with a discount or an offer, that is fire. And that's when I think personalization really occupies a league of its own and gets those incredible results that we talked about at the top of the episode.
Yeah, dynamic coupon codes are great for that.
Oh, exactly.
Okay. Do I have a hot take? I want to make mine more B2B focused, so that we've got one of each.
Nice.
I think my hot take is a bit of a cheap one. Personalization really starts with the data, so we've got to start segmenting our list in order to get personalization right. And so I think that's got to be the first step. So if you haven't already, the people on your email list, tag them as clients if they're clients, tag them as suppliers, or tag them as prospective or lapsed clients if you can do that as well. Invest some time into sorting your data out. When was the last time you actually clicked on the audience in your email platform and had a look at who was on there? Do that as the first step. And then if you want to know what the second step is, get in touch with us and we'll walk you through it.
Oh, nice. Little CTA there.
Little CTA.
Oh, check you out. How do people get in touch?
So they go to our website, which is
theinbox.club.
Theinbox.club. And there's a form on there. Do that. Or you can ring me.
Or
should I get my number out on here?
Visit Jamie's OnlyFans.
Visit my OnlyFans, yeah, but it's got a payment gate, so I want people to get in touch for free, not have to pay. Okay, we did our hot takes. Is that everything?
Yeah, nice.
We're done. Have you got no more stats?
No, that's it. That's it for that. I mean, there are a couple more, but I'm not gonna throw them out.
Save them for another ep.
I'll save them for another ep. Exactly.
Yeah, stretch this content out.
Yeah. No. Do you feel at the end of this episode that your mathematical formula has changed in terms of personalization, segmentation, and automation?
I think we need to go back to the drawing board on that one. We need like an Oppenheimer montage scene to work out, with that really intense music in the background.
And like numbers drifting past us.
Yeah.
Like they're in our brain. Yeah. I actually haven't seen Oppenheimer, so... No. Or Barbie.
Okay.
Because they were sort of like against each other, weren't they? I've seen none of them.
I mean, I watched both. I actually think you would enjoy Barbie more.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment.
Because it's you don't really like these cinephile kind of films, do you? Where it's all about the art of the cinema. And Oppenheimer is very, I think, arty. I'm not a film buff, but my impression is I think it's quite indulgent. You don't like films like that.
Yeah, it's a slow burner.
Yeah,
I'm a real simpleton when it comes to films. I just want action. And just something accessible and easy. So yeah, I think Barbie all the way.
Maybe the next step. I know the next step we said we're going to do accessibility. Maybe we can just talk about our favourite films for half an hour.
Yeah, spin off.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Anyway, if you listen on Spotify, give us 5 stars.
No.
If you think it's been good, if it's been shit, then just troll us directly via email. If that's okay, don't leave a bad review.
Yeah, good shout.
Just send us hate mail. If it's on YouTube, like and subscribe. If it's somewhere else, I don't know what you do. Whatever, positive affirmative action, if that's okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
All right, thank you.
Bye.